Esteemed Chairman, Mr. Harish Manwani, Admirable Dean, Dr. Rajan Srivastava, eminent members of the board, learned professors and academics, distinguished invitees, dear graduating students, their proud parents, spouses, children, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud privilege to be here as the graduation day speaker, especially the kind of rankings that we heard today makes me proud, and you are in the world's a preeminent business school. And let me thank the outgoing chairman, Mr. Adi Godrej, for this kind invitation, and it's indeed an honor for me. It was a delight to watch a seamless transition process at the board of this B school, which was announced in January 2018, and it culminated in the transfer now. And I wish to say that your new chairman is going to take this school to the next level of excellence with the support of all the faculty members present here, and with the kind of impact that you are all going to make in the business world in India and abroad. And I offer my accolades to Dean Rajan Srivastava and the faculty of this B school for all that ranking that he talked about. And let me also salute at this moment of glory the predecessors, those who built this institution from scratch and brought it to this level. Every new generation builds from the shoulders of the predecessors. And you are going to do that too in your life. This evening, all these bright young men and women are going to say that we are now ready to take off. And that's what your institute has done over the last 15 months or 1 year to this batch of 2017 and 18 present here. 6 months ago, I was here in this auditorium as part of the Leadership Summit, and I was so happy to interact with all of them. And indeed, it was a moment of delight for me when I was told I will be participating in the seminal moments of their professional life. That's today. Let me bless all of you, and you must have a great career, be great, and do good for the humanity. Amidst your pursuit for enterprising business endeavors and your entrepreneurial excellence that you are going to show, you also ponder, as mentioned here, what you can do to the humanity around you, and what legacy you want to leave when you leave this world. And you should be able to say that in 2 or 3 words. That's what the aim of this life on earth. My dear friends, your dean talked about a common connection between you and me. And that was way back in 1976. I came out of the IAMB as a student. I made a choice at that time to go back to ISRO, which was in the formative stage. Many eyebrows raised at that time. But time proved that my choice was correct. And in the year 2010, IAMB chose me to be the convocation speaker. I would have gone to many places doing this function, But when you get invited to do that in your alma mater, whether it is B school or the engineering college or even the high school or primary school where you were a student, that is the greatest moment of recognition for you. And I am sure a few of you will be here on this part of the stage adorning various roles and also to deliver a convocation address maybe in the next 15, 20 years. Wish you good luck for that. I have been with the space program for the last 46 years. And I should say that this engagement has been exciting, it was exacting, and also satisfying. And I found there was a purpose in my life. Why did I say so to this audience? Someone like you, hailing from an industrialist family in Gujarat, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, he was a scientist of the highest order. He was given the responsibility to start the space program. Unlike many people who do, he felt that was a platform for him to do a larger service to the country than just pursuing his scientific interest. He found this is a vehicle for contributing to the national development process. And that shaped the indomitable space vision of India, which is distinct from what other countries followed in those days. That is to use this technology for the humanity. And what he did at that time, a great inspiring leader, he got the pristine brains from all over the country to float around at Tumba or at Ahmedabad to do space technology or the rocket science, as you mentioned, and space applications. And I was one among those young people who went to Tumba at that time. Dr. Sarabhai left this world at the age of 51 with a great legacy. And then stepped in Professor Satish Dhawan, a Caltech postgraduate whose professor said, Dhawan surpassed me in everything other than age. And here was a man who said it was Vikram's vision, only I executed it. Imagine how many CEOs will say this when they take over from the previous person. I got it in very bad shape and I don't have anybody down the line to succeed me. This is the normal thing 99% of the people will say. So we had a great aeronautical engineer who did that. And he managed this program with a beautiful organizational structure, system, process, culture, relevance to the society. Significant programs were brought in. And what we got in that period was national systems using space technology. A person who told us that the satellite which will fly on this PSLV that you are now planning to work on should be based on the needs of the agriculture ministry. And that is the way the vision got executed. We talk about endeavor and enterprise, whether space is an endeavor, an open-ended endeavor, or space is an enterprise, where you look at also the outcome versus the input that you put. And we also got into space commerce. We also became sensitive to space policy. We became sensitive to space economics. And today, people are talking about the economy of maintaining habitat in Mars, whether it is good to take it from all the way from Earth or whether you can harness it from an asteroid. That's the kind of economic analysis that takes place now elsewhere in the world. My friends, 6 months ago when I came here, you asked me a few questions on the program, the key success factors of ISRO, and something about me. Basically, what is striking for the Indian space program is we believe in team excellence. We can look at various facets of how that team excellence work. But that helps us to address the complex technology and the larger systems that we deal with. Last week, you all would have read, we had a successful GSLV flight, and also we are going through a small problem with the satellite that was launched. But next week, the same team is going to launch another satellite and manage that. That's the way we come up, even in adversities. And this we call the resilience to such failures. And we are in a field where there are technology denials. We overcome that. The word cryogenics technology was used in 1992 when the technology was denied to us. We didn't take a back seat. We went ahead and developed it, and we got the technology, mastered the technology. Recently, when the lander for Chandrayaan, which was supposed to be given by Russia, was not available to us, we decided that we are going to do it from scratch and develop it. And that's what is going to fly in the year 2018. I will talk about it later. When we spend large amount of public money, there is something called public accountability, and also to be conscious about the cost. And we do that, and it is part of our system. And to summarize, to my mind, it is these two scientists, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai and Professor Satish Dhawan, coming in that sequence, and their character, their outlook, that made ISRO what it is, and the culture that we have today. And that saga continued over generations. And that is the secret of ISRO. And we are extending the limits and exploring new possibilities. We are all global MBAs. What is happening in the globe in this domain? And this is something which will be of interest to you. And certainly you would have heard about Elon Musk. He's a hero of everybody. He caught the imagination. There are 60 countries in the world who are in the business of space. They own a satellite or more satellites as operators or part of a consortium. Among them, ISRO is one of the prominent. 6 or 7, that is the rank that ISRO has in overall level for the last 10 years. And when we talk about the space economy, that is 340 billion US dollars. 25% comes from the government. The balance is part of the commercial space enterprises who own, operate the systems and provide downstream services. But what we spend is 1.25 billion US dollar equivalent from the government, and maybe 2 or 3 times of that, all the downstream service providers put together. That means our element contribution is 1% of that space economy, and we are 6 in this line. When I came to this institute, one of your professors asked me this question. In terms of global innovation index over the last 4 or 5 years, India is at the median somewhere between 60 to 80 among 141 countries. And how this is happening here. But if you look at the innovation efficiency, the output versus input, India ranks, as you talk about ISB, in 3, 4, 5 or these years. And that is, Indians have novel ways of doing things. That's what happens. Now, if you look at the entire field of space, they started with competition as the main objective in the bipolar world. But today we see all these countries on Earth together look at other celestial objects, looking at moon or looking at Mars. And there is a global roadmap that they have collectively generated. People talk about robotic expeditions. And the Elon Musk recently tested successfully his rocket, Falcon Heavy. It's the heaviest in the world, the most powerful one in the world. And that can lift about 64 tons to a low Earth orbit. That means it can take 10 tons from Earth to an orbit around Mars. And if we are thinking of bringing back something from Mars to Earth, we can say about 2 tons we can bring back from Mars. So today is a time the humanity on Earth can talk sensibly on such missions of taking human beings to moon or Mars or interplanetary travel. It doesn't stop there. NASA is developing another system called Space Launch System, and that's 70 tons to 130 tons in the same place. And they are also planning to have such kind of space habitats built in the Earth and then try to see how human can adapt to it. And over the last couple of years, several agencies have been working together, leveraging on each one's strength to see how do we go back to moon with the human beings, how do we go back to Mars and bring things from there, how do we put habitat there, and how do we look at even asteroids. And if you look at the moon mission, 6 Apollo missions in 1969-72 happened. They were great events. In 2011, there was a robonaut. Now we talk about artificial intelligence. Robonaut was put in the International Space Station. And if you look at the Curiosity in Mars, which Americans did, they surpassed all the initial expectations. It is working well from 2011 till now. And if you look at what is going to happen, it is a judicious mix of space robots and human being. Space robots are developing, and today we talk about brain-inspired space robots. That is the cognitive capability of the human being partially put into space robots. They can do things. Why? Because it is difficult to take a human being and safely keep them there and then bring back. So limit that and use maximum these space robots. But the most important thing when you talk about such a mission is the time taken. If you talk about taking a human being from Earth to moon and bring back, it's about 20 days. But when you talk about a mission to Mars, it is 1,000 days. Because you can do this mission only once in 26 months, and it takes about 9 to 10 months for that long voyage itself. If you are on the way to moon, if something happens to the human being, you can bring them back. But if it is on this 1,000 days travel, there is no way you can abort the mission and bring. So it becomes very complex. And what is the complexity when a human being has to go to the Earth or environmental control life support system for such a period? Air supply, the biomass production, then the food supply, waste disposal, healthcare systems. How the radiation will work on them. How the microgravity will impact on the body. And what are the psychological factors of being in that cabin for a long time. So all these have to be understood. And what is the current record of the humanity is 1 year in the International Space Station that goes around the Earth. So there is a long way to go in that area. And what India has done, of course, I should say one thing, we talked about an indomitable vision to start with. But the great thing of ISRO was we did not stay stale with that vision. Sarabhai said, so we will know nothing more than that. As we learn more, as the world developed, as the aspirations of the country went up, ISRO also went up, India also went up. In the year 2000, Chandrayaan was such a major point of inflection. In 2010, the mission to Mars you took up, that was another point of inflection. Now we are going to have a major technological event taking place in 2018 where we are going to put a lander on moon. What is involved in putting a lander on moon? We all travel in aircrafts. They go at 600, 800 kilometers per hour. And they land and they say that is a great moment for any pilot. To a designated airfield where everything is known. There are two persons who can do that job. And they do it, and when they land properly, we say landing was great. If it is a fighter plane, that would be about 2,500 kilometers per hour, and the landing site will not be that nice, it will be rough, the soil will be clumsy there, it will be wet, clay, etc., etc., terrain will be difficult, but that is 2,500. When we have an orbiter around moon and that tried to make a soft landing, it has to do everything by itself. From 6,000 kilometers per hour to near zero for a soft landing, to be done on its own by energizing the rockets for braking, to ascertain where it has to land, and also to ensure that where it finally lands is a smooth surface. And that's what we are attempting with our own technology in the year 2018, but it's a very major beginning. What is in store for us, the next level of inflection, is going to be the human presence in solar system. We did a few things to understand what are the complexities, but as the world goes into global space exploration with the human as one of the main elements, India has to be there to have a meaningful place, a meaningful voice, and understanding about habitat on Moon and Mars. Orbital vehicles that can bring back those 1 ton, 2 ton material from there. This is another area. How to use the in situ materials there and build habitats and downstream technologies here to use those resources like helium-3 when you get back from moon, how to use it for the energy. So these are all the kinds of challenges there. Now you must be wondering why this gentleman is talking about planetary exploration to a group of business students. In the beginning, your colleague talked about paradigm change in business. You are going to see in the prime of your professional career a paradigm change that your world is not Earth alone. There is a world moon. There is a world in Mars where things will be happening and you will be doing business. You will be having outposts in moon, in Mars, where your supply chain and delivery chain will be discussed. And certainly, scientists also will understand something about the human life itself there. And even all the activities, if you put together space enterprise itself, the sheer size, the complexity involved, the business opportunity available, and I said 75% come from the commercial space enterprise, and the strategic dimensions. These are all things which will kindle you to get involved in the space enterprise as startups or as major partners. And this should become a great reality soon, a few decades from now. Let me just conclude with a quotation from Swami Vivekananda. Mind you, this is life's experience. If you really want the good of others, the whole universe may stand against you and still cannot hurt you. It must crumble before the power of the Lord himself in you. Underline in you, if you are sincere and really unselfish. Dean talked about the word integrity. Learning is important. Widening your domain is important. Translating that knowledge into actions, that is the job of a businessman. While doing that, your being is equally important. Honesty, integrity, conviction, courage, all that will make you a different person, a different businessman, a different industrialist, different human being, which will take you for a long time. May your life be a bright one. May it luster, brighten the entire country, earn the world. May the Almighty always be with you in your journey of success. You all know that in the global competitiveness index, India has been 55, it was 39, it is now 40. Now your job is, how do we bring it back or take it up to 20s or 10s in the future years to come? If you look at the economy, we are somewhere in 14, 15 in the whole world. When and how we take it to one of those 3 or 4. People talk about 10 trillion economy in 20 years and compounded annual growth rate of 9% when we are at 7% now. And that is the task in front of you. Wish you all the best. God bless you.